Hello, listener, and welcome to episode 25 of the Factor 50 Football Podcast with me, Michael Grantham. We have done it. We've made it to a quarter of a century of episodes.
I was just
and
dabbing.
to celebrate that, Jesus Christ, to celebrate that, we've got absolutely nothing to talk about because it's an international weekend. Before we get going, we would love you to like, follow, subscribe, and share the podcast far and wide because we've got no mates and no social circle to share that with ourselves. We're on all social media at Factor 50 Football. Factor 50 Football. That's 50, the number. Who are we? And you can search that on YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify is the other one. Search that on there, like it, follow it, whatever, subscribe it, and turn on notifications so you get the next one delivered to your phone. And if you're enjoying the podcast as well, and if you've got a question and you want one of your questions featured on the podcast and your name's not John, send them in via social media and we will read them out on the next one. So, as it is the international break, we've got a very special episode for everyone today. We're going to do a quick roundup of the international stuff, I think, and what's gone on this week. Look forward to a little bit like England at the World Cup preview and who we might put in our starting lineup.
I think we should start with a big sorry. So sorry. But last week's
podcast was shit.
I'm so sorry. We didn't. It was awful. So if you listen to our last podcast on YouTube, it's still there. You can go listen to it. We haven't taken it down. We're owning our mistake. Basically, we got locked out of our piece of software that we used to record this. We ended up using the free version, and it made me sound like a tiny little mouse. So you couldn't hear me at all, which some people have fed back saying the podcast was better. I think that's mean.
They preferred it. Yeah, most people did.
Yeah. It did get the most likes of any YouTube video we've put out there so far.
What does that say?
Yeah, so if you want to go like it some more, make me feel really bad, then feel free. It's out there. But look, we're back into the software. You'll hopefully be expecting the same middle of the road standards, I guess, from Factor 50. We never.
I was thinking elite level, but you're probably more accurate.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, Mike, let's. What have you been up to? What's been happening this week for you?
What have I been doing this week? I haven't actually thought about this bit.
Excellent. We talk about it every week.
You've thrown this on me. You've thrown this bombshell on me. It's the same format every week. I've had a busy week so far because I'm cramming in like 3. Where are we now? Wednesday. Well, like 3 days of work. 3 days of work into 2 because I'm going to a client's wedding tomorrow.
Nice.
Just the evening bit. They're only doing it's only like family at the daytime bit. So we're only going for the evening. We are taking the boys. So obviously that's going to be. I don't know how long we're going to be there for.
To an evening wedding.
To an evening wedding. Well, it starts at 6 o'clock. So it's not a wild one.
Is it close by?
But yeah, it's in Basingstoke, just down the road.
Okay, fine.
And it's got I think there's a pub with like the venue above the pub or something like that. I think I've been to the pub, I just can't remember it. So yeah, tomorrow evening usually I work, so I've had to do all the stuff that I'm going to do tomorrow today. So that was a very long day yesterday. And then today I've been in town getting some bits for the stag do because that is What is it? Is it a week? No, it's a week tomorrow. We'll be meeting up tomorrow. Right?
Well, yeah. Well, no, a week tomorrow we'll be meeting up for the what's it? Just go back to the wedding thing, by the way. What schoolboy error? Like, surely you should just be going on your own to this wedding.
Yeah, we did think about that, but like getting a baby, we don't have a babysitter, and parents don't live near here, and we'd have to have someone over to stay or something.
Just Bev stay at home. You go on your own. Sure, client.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, my clients. I've got to go. It's part of business. Expense everything.
You're there to do a little, post-workout session with him. That's what you should say.
Just what everyone wants to do on their wedding day.
A beer session, but just don't say. Don't say that. Okay, and what sort of things stag? We're talking about, learner signs, arrow through the head, blow up dolls.
Yeah, all that classic comedy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just a few bits and pieces, just dotting the I's and crossing the T's and all that stuff. I think I might actually have to go in again next week. There might be some more stuff that I've forgotten about, but because I didn't really plan exactly what I was going to get. But I did the important stuff. I'm still waiting on a delivery for something as well, which I'm not going to reveal yet. So I am pushing it a bit tight, but nothing focuses on mine like a deadline.
Well, I think we can. We were talking beforehand, weren't we? So, unfortunately, the other best man for my wedding can't make the stag do for health reasons. So, it does mean we've got a spare seat and a spare ticket for the plane.
There is a slot paid for.
Going free, potentially, to somebody.
Yeah.
And we did contemplate offering it out to the listeners of the podcast.
We should do it as like a prize. That pretend that we've been sponsored by someone to fly out to the stag do location, and you've got to comment and subscribe and like, and then when you do all that stuff, you get entered into a super prize draw, and it's not really like that, though, is it?
No, but I am. The ticket's going, and it'd be a shame if nobody jumps on it. So I think if someone does comment stag on the YouTube
They're
video,
on the plane.
You're on the plane, guys. So
yeah,
when this gets released,
have we actually said where we're going as well?
Well, I think we can reveal now. So we're going to St. Pauli in Hamburg. And it's the weekend St. Pauli are playing Bayern Munich. So, we're going to have a great time.
It's going to be a heavy on the football, isn't it? And the Premier League's on while we're there as well. So we'll probably find a pub and watch that, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want a seat on the plane, Ant and Deck style, comment stag on the YouTube video and you could, become.
And you also, you would have to put up with us plus 9 other people who are coming. But they're all fine. They're all lovely.
There's a mixed bunch.
They're Farrell's friends, so draw from that what you will.
most of them are your friends as well.
That's true. Yeah, I do know most of them. Actually, I think I know all of them, don't I? Yeah.
You know of all of them, yeah. Actually, I was with Jarv on the weekend, and he was asking, who's there? And I was like, well, they're all a bit, not quite all there. And he's like, who's the most normal? I was like, well, he's not coming. The other best man. So
is he? Fuck off! He's not the most normal.
Maybe.
I'm more normal than Blake is, surely.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Well,
right?
We'll maybe. I don't think so. But yeah, it's fine.
Fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, but now that's revealed, shall we head into some international roundup? I think.
Yeah. So let's do a brief overview of the shitstorm that was the international break. Should we start with England briefly? I don't think there's a lot to say, is there, about those 2 friendly matches?
England from fuck off. Is my review here, because if you wait till the end, you'll see why with my bloody prediction. Absolute wankers. We didn't win either of our games. And I mean, we both admit we're not the most into international breaks when it's not a major tournament. So I watched about 20 minutes of England versus Japan at the end is all I watched. And it was bad. And that was, I think the commentator said on the 75th minute, it was our first shot on target. At that point, it was Rashford.
Wonderful
goal. So I don't think many people did themselves favours. What I would say is that Lewis Hall looked very good when I was watching him. So I think he probably, did all right. But it just goes to show, and Thomas Tuchel spoke about it a little bit, actually, without Harry Kane, we lack a bit of threat up front.
That's what I was going to say. It's a bit of a worrying insight into what the future might look like without Harry Kane as an England fan, right? Because there's not, at the moment, there's not really someone who's about to take that place, is there?
No one really. And there's a few players that we spoke about, because we were on a previous podcast, weren't we, last week, the BCFC Fanzine TV, and we spoke a bit about England, and we did our England 11. Everyone on that podcast wanted Rashford to play. I was dead against it, and I'm the Man United
Apart from you, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think he he's very one-dimensional. Like, he can run at somebody, and he's good technically. He can hit a ball well, but that's all he can really do. He usually runs down a corridor and into trouble, and I think I saw that again with England. Like, he's not going to be that.
I thought he was
contagious
quite
guy.
good against, from what the bits I saw, and I sort of had it on in the background, so I wasn't watching avidly. But the bits I saw against Uruguay, he was like the only real attacking threat we had. I can't remember who else we started.
Interesting.
But he was like, if we were going to score, it was coming from the left.
Yeah, but did he
and that's
score?
what I like
No,
about
didn't.
him, just cutting inside. He didn't score, but I like him cutting in and his ability to get shot off or create a chance or whatever. He looked lively. He looked like he could beat a man, whereas everyone else looked a bit like sideways.
Yeah, and that is the problem, is that we've got a few sideways people. I think Gen Gordon to let himself down a little bit on that left-hand side. Morgan Rogers, when I saw him play, he actually started out on the
Foden
left.
as well struggled.
Yeah, but he did play Foden false 9. Like, it's not his. I know he's played at the Man City, but that is not his position.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it was harsh.
Yeah, they struggled. And were you were you on your sofa booing Ben White as well as the rest of Wembley, or are you a pro Ben White man?
No, I wasn't booing Ben White. Like, he obviously he had a problem with Steve Holland and Southgate. Like, something's gone on there that we don't know about, and fine. But I mean, as a patriotic man, I think you should always be available for England. And if you're picking and choosing when you're available, not that you shouldn't do it, but it just leaves a little bit of a sour taste. So I can understand the boos. I wouldn't boo him myself, but I can understand when people are pissed off. Like, oh, you've got a new manager now, they suddenly want you. Great, get back into the fold. Like, it's basically dictating a little bit of when he wants to play for him.
Yeah, I totally disagree with you, but I'm
that's
pro Ben White.
Being the Arsenal supporter you are.
I just think he obviously fell out with, I think it was Steve Holland. I'm not sure it was Southgate. And yeah, we don't know what's gone on there. But he has always said he wants to play for England. It's not like he's refusing to play for England. He didn't want to be in a group, in a training camp with Steve Holland because of whatever happened there.
You can say I want to play for England, but no, you said I'm not available for selection, so you don't want to play for England. Steve Holland's there.
No, he didn't. He doesn't want to say I'm not available for selection. He's being forced to do that because he's been treated like shit by.
Not being forced to do anything. It's his decision.
Well, we don't know. We don't know what's gone on between Steve Holland and Ben White. Like, what if he's punched him in the face? Like,
making stuff up now. Absolute propaganda coming out from Michael Grantham over there.
No, I'm just saying we don't know what they're arguing about. So without knowing that, we can't really debate it. But Ben, like, as soon as Thomas Tuchel asked Ben White to play, he's straight in the squad. Like, he wants to play. If he didn't want to play for England, he'd be like, "Nah, I'm all right, mate. Leave it." But he's straight back in the team, isn't it?
But the reason why people are booing him because he's choosing when he wants to play for England. Like, I think you can have, like, yeah, we don't know what's gone on, but I don't think it's anything.
He's not hating on England. He's hating on Steve Holland.
But even so, you've said, right, okay, well, I'm not available selection. A man in that position should be able to go, look, okay, I don't get on with Steve Holland, and I'm going to put that aside. If he chooses not to pick me, fine, but I'm always available for England because England is my priority. Like, that's what he should have done. And look, he probably wouldn't have got picked because of what happened. But there's a bit more integrity about it rather than saying, no, I don't like this man.
It's not World War II. It's not World War II, is it? It's not like your country needs you. Get to the front line. Like, it's game of football. If you don't want to play, you don't have to.
Oh my God! If an Arsenal player had gone, let's say for Arteta, I'm not playing for Arteta, and then Arteta gets replaced with somebody else, and then all of a sudden he really wants to play and stay for the football club, you'd be fucking fuming. You said, no, you made your decision, get out.
No, if an Arsenal player falls out with Mikel Arteta, like, he's going to leave, isn't he? But then if Arteta gets sacked and someone else comes in and he wants to play, it's up to him.
No, if somebody was refusing to play for Arsenal because of a manager, and then all of a sudden the manager's changed and then he comes back into the fold because he likes that manager, you're fuming.
It depends why he's fallen out with Arteta or with Steve Holland, doesn't it? If it's some petty, like, childish argument, and it's just like, I'll put that aside and play football, fine. But there's no way you wouldn't play for your country because he was mean to me or something. Like there's
But to say
obviously something
you don't
bad
know.
happened.
Like it can't have been bad because otherwise it would have been all over the newspapers. Like this sort
We
of
don't
shit.
know. We don't know what it is, do we?
This
And
sort of
actually,
stuff
I
we
think the
wouldn't
worse
know.
it is, the more tight that secret's going to get kept.
No, in this day and age, mate, like England, like there's cameras on England 24/7. Like they've clearly had an argument, of course, but that is about the extent of it. Like it's no fisticuffs or anything.
I'll be interested to know what it was why they fell out in
I think
whenever we do find out. Maybe in 20 years' time or something.
maybe
We'll
I
find out on
started
some
off,
podcast in 20 years' time.
maybe Ben White does a book saying "My England Life for Me."
I'd read that book. I like them one. Fuck you, Steve Holland.
I like Steve Holland. You know, he's at Man United now. Leave him alone.
Is he? Is he United now?
Yeah, so he was one of Michael Carrick's appointments when he came in.
Okay. Get Gareth Southgate in there as well, yeah?
Fuck off.
Come on. Okay. Can feel
You've
it.
got here. You've got here. We're going to go through our England 11s. I've deleted mine.
I did think when I wrote that, I was like, "Where is mine?" I think I do still have it open on tab somewhere.
I just found it. I found it. Shall I run through my England starting 11 for the World Cup?
Yes.
From now. And listeners, feel free to debate. If you disagree, let us know who would be in your England starting 11. So I've gone for, of course, Pickford.
Ben White.
Ben White. First name of the team sheet, mate.
In goal.
In goal and defence and midfield and striker. Pickford number 1 in goal. I've gone for Reece James right back, Lewis Hall left back, Gahey and Maguire in centre backs. In midfield, I've gone for Rice and Anderson, Saka, Gordon, and then Bellingham in the 10. And then, of course, Harry Kane up front is what I've gone for.
Yeah. And that's your 11 for the first, like to start the World Cup, right?
To start the World Cup, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the undisputed positions. Wait, who did you have at right back?
I had Reece James.
Reece James, yeah. So I reckon if he's fit, I think that's one of the undisputed positions for me. So Pickford, I've got Reece James at right back. I've got Gahey and John Stones, again, if fit. I've got Nico O'Reilly at left back, but I'm very much like horses for courses based on who we're playing and form and that sort of thing, because I like Nico O'Reilly, although he is a twat for scoring twice against us in the League Cup final. But let's move on. We've forgotten all about that. I like him. I rate Lewis Hall. I rate Livramento as well. He can play both sides. Yeah. But I picked Nico O'Reilly because I think he's in quite good form. He's pretty important for Man City now. And I have a feeling Tuchel will start him, but I don't know. I've got Rice and Anderson in central midfield as well. And I've got Saka, Bellingham. I've gone Rashford on the left wing because I like having like an inside forward type. One out of the two, I want like an inside forward, kind of second strikery type winger to come inside and add more goal threat. And then Kane up front. So I reckon the nailed on positions, you got goalkeeper, Gahey and Reece James, if Reece James is fit, I think are pretty nailed on. Rice and Anderson probably nailed on. Saka's probably nailed on, and obviously Kane. And I would say Bellingham as well, although there was, when we were on the BCFC podcast, there is debate, isn't there, about who's going to be England's number 10, because there's so many options.
Well, it seemed like Morgan Rogers was Thomas Tuchel's favourite for that number 10. But I just don't think he played well. He missed a sitter against Japan as well. So I think Bellingham has to play. He's a big game player, and you need a big game player. I said it on the last BCFC Fanzine TV. I do think he holds on to the ball a bit too long sometimes and tries to do too much with it. Like, he can be guilty of that and slows down the play a bit. But he's just, I just can't get over that overhead kick. Like, someone who does that.
I think he is top class, yeah. Also, like, for a relatively young player still, I don't know, he's pretty young still, isn't he? To be, like, to cope with playing for Real Madrid and because I know English media are bad, but Real Madrid's,
worse, yeah.
What's that newspaper? Is it La Marca or something, or La Masia? Yeah. They're like, 10 times worse. And to cope with that pressure, we've heard from previous English players who've played for Real Madrid, how like the spotlight's on you, and for him to do that and still be as good as he has been and score. Did he get like 20 goals last season? I think, didn't he? And I know he's been injured a bit this season, but I still think he's got I would give him the number 10. And if like I really like Morgan Rogers as well. If he wanted to start him, I wouldn't be amiss to seeing him like coming in off the left as well.
Yeah,
Because I think Morgan Rogers
yeah,
is a quality player. But to have those options is nice, isn't it?
it is. My worry is though coming into this, and my last point on England is that I still don't think Tuchel knows his best 11, and I think that is a slight worry going into the World Cup.
Yeah, you would have liked those 2 games to be like for 1 or 2 players to have nailed on those positions that we just listed, the ones that weren't included. It'd been good if a couple of players had been like, right, I'm going to be the left winger, or
There's a lot of grabs,
and maybe the end of the season will tip the scale one way or the other. But there are quite a few still, 3 or 4 that are kind of up for grabs. So that will be interesting to see. And then obviously we're indifferent towards international football now, but ask us again in 2 months' time, and it'll be mental.
It'll be my whole life. Speaking of international football, there's been a big furore made of all the withdrawals from internationals, and mostly aimed at Arsenal. So how many in total is there? 9
exclusively aimed at Arsenal.
Yeah, but it's because
I don't know how many.
by far.
Fuck loads.
Yeah.
Fuck loads.
So what's your opinion on it? Is it actually good management from Arteta? Is it the right thing to do? What do you think?
Yes, I think it is the right thing to do. So maybe it's because I'm getting older as well. I was thinking about this earlier. Because now we've been following Arsenal and just Premier League football for whatever, 30 years. Like, I remember the days when Alex Ferguson would do this with his players. Arsene Wenger was kind of pretty liberal with it. And we would get called, he always got called naive because what Ferguson did well, he would refuse to do. And actually, I think it works, right? Like it won league titles for United, keeping players like Giggs or Beckham fresh fresher for the end of the league season, particularly this international window because there's only 7 or 8 games to go in the league. So yeah, I don't think there's any problem with it. And also the important thing to mention is these players aren't just going like, oh, I'm going home now, bye. Like they're not allowed to leave that camp without the consent of the national team. And I think the difference now compared to previous years or non-World Cup years, or non-tournament summer years, is it's also in the national team's interest for these players not to get injured now. Because if you get a 2-month injury, maybe 3, you're out of the World Cup. So if any of these players, and lots of Arsenal players, are in the sort of red zone, if you like, maybe not injured, but not, fully fit and healthy, carrying stuff, it's in the national team's interest not to make that issue worse, because if they pull a hamstring or something now, they're out of the World Cup. So I think a lot of them have gone, well, let's not risk it. It's like they're only friendlies, and sent them home. And I think that's a good thing. And I think the real problem is not players having to leave international football because of potential injuries. It's the schedule. It's having like loads of these players have played 50 games already this season. If we want players to not drop out of international football, they have to play less football up to now. Otherwise, they just fall apart.
Yeah, but you can make that point, and look, there's some merit in that point, but it has no relevance to why Arteta's doing this right now. Like Arteta would be doing this, whether some of those players had played 20 games or not, because
he can't just click his fingers and bring a player back, though. Like the national team have to agree to it.
Let's not be naive. This was all agreed in advance. This hasn't just happened after one game and Arteta's called around all the managers going, "Can I have them back now, please?" It's all been agreed when they were called up. So when they're called up to that squad, it's like, great, you can have him for a game, and then after that, he's coming back. Like, there's no way in hell's chance that Arteta's had to call around everybody. It's been fully agreed up front, and I've got no issue with that. I've got no issue with it. I actually think Arteta has done the right thing by doing this. The only thing I would say is, if he hasn't considered this, sure he has, because he's a much smarter man than me. It just builds the pressure slightly more again on the next game because it's like, okay, you've done something else, which is like, okay, you've got fresher players now or whatever. You've got to go into that next game. You've got to get a result. So I just think it slightly builds the pressure a little bit more on that next game because everyone's talking about it again. It's just building up and through. Correct decision, I think, but it just builds that pressure a little bit. It's my
I think
thoughts
the
on
pressure is ridiculously high anyway, whether he did it or
it. It
not.
is. It is, but it builds it again, right? Like we shouldn't be talking about Arsenal on this podcast right now. Let's be honest. But we are because of
Well, we are a semi-Arsenal podcast, so
fucking feels like 100% Arsenal podcast sometimes.
because we're that good, isn't it? It's because we've got players who play international football. You've not. I don't think you've got many, have you?
We've got loads, mate. Absolutely loads. So yeah, I think it's the right decision. But yeah, we'll see. Final chat we go into our transfers is obviously the big breaking news in football is Zerbi has joined Spurs as their manager. So yeah, Tudor is gone, which I think we all expected, and Zerbi has come in as manager. So he'd left Marseille, wasn't he? He was available, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, he left Marseille like I don't know, a month ago or so. I think.
Okay, fine.
Because he was one of the reasons we sent Ethan Nwaneri to Marseille because it was like, go and play with, because he plays, high pressing style of football. And then like 2 weeks after he joined, Zerbi left because the bloke's just a fucking nut job, isn't he? Which is exactly what Spurs need. They need a nice level-headed guy who's going to come in and lay the foundation for a stable future. And they've got this guy who's going to be like, yeah, fucking do what I want or I'll murder you all and like fly off the handle and he'll be gone in 6 months. But it's quite exciting because
he's got
they
a
could
5-year
really
contract.
go to shit now. Yeah, they could really implode.
5-year contract for Zerbi as well. That seems like high risk considering you might go down.
If he sees out that 5-year contract, I will eat my own shoe. Like he's not going to get to 1 year.
Do you think now more likely to go down because of hiring Zerbi?
I think it's a massive. Like I think they will either go down and be doomed forever, or maybe he's got that like chaos factor where they get 6 points from the last. What they got? 8 games left. Or
7 games
if they get 3 wins, will 3 wins keep them up? Probably. That'll get them to 40 points, won't it? Somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely gonna, because I think the club all the players are in some sort of like slump there, aren't they? It's definitely gonna wake a few people up. But I think he's gonna ruffle feathers and shake the dressing room up a bit. I feel like, that meme with the popcorn where Michael Jackson's just like,
yeah.
I feel like that's what this is now for every non-Spurs fan, because it's like, something's going to happen. So we'll see how it goes. What do you make of the whole the Spurs supporters trust
with Mason Greenwood
speaking out against De Zerbi?
Well, yeah, I think fair play for them to bring it up. I don't know too much about De Zerbi's stance on it. I know that there's some quotes that have come out where he's defending him and he's basically said Mason Greenwood's paid a high price and shouldn't be judged maybe anymore on it. I think ultimately I'd want to know a bit more about what De Zerbi, did he bring him to Marseille? I don't know if he did that. If he did, then okay, maybe he has a bit more of I think the sports club have a bit of a right to bring that up. If Greenwood was already there when De Zerbi went there, I think he has to defend the player who's one of the best players. Now, Mason Greenwood is indefensible. Let's just make that pretty clear. Obviously, as soon as it happened at United, he was gone, and he was our brightest prospect. He was the future's going to be built around Mason Greenwood, and the club absolutely did the right thing and said, no, you're out. And the audio tapes got released is outrageous. So I think De Zerbi made an error in what he said. It just builds upon pressure already on him when he's only just been given the job. Like already the supporters clubs come out and said, we don't
strongly
want this
dislike
man
him
to be managing our football club. So again, if Spurs haven't played that through and thought how that would land, it's really fucking embarrassing on their side of things. Like it's a really controversial appointment. And one thing they didn't need was a controversial appointment at this point.
I feel like they need, like I was saying, like some stability.
Yeah.
For obviously to see out this season and then build for next season. And he is probably, if I'm thinking of unstable, not like mentally, although maybe he is mental, I don't know. But like if I'm thinking of unstable kind of firecracker, controversial managers, I'd put him right towards the top of that list. So God knows what's going to happen, but yeah. Apparently, so he was signed by the president, apparently, of Marseille and the like sporting director, but he was the coach. He was the head coach, and he backed the transfer supposedly.
Right. Okay. Fine.
Yeah. In terms of his stance on Greenwood, I don't care how good the player is. Like he would be, if it was my decision, he'd be out of the club. If he could be the best player in the world, I'd get rid of it. Like what he did, and the fact that it's not really up for discussion what he did because all of the audio files were released.
Yeah.
I get it if you're on trial and you're found innocent, then that makes it more complicated. But everyone has heard what he said and how he treats women. I wouldn't have that. And I don't want to get into the Thomas Partey stuff, but like that is a big black. Just because it's an Arsenal player doesn't mean I'm like, oh yeah, Thomas Partey, I back him. He's a scumbag. He should never have played for our club, and the club got that massively wrong, and Arteta got that massively wrong. And I think the same for anyone who comes out in defence or stuff like that. And then people talking about, oh, second chance, second chance. There's no second chance when that's how you behave and that's the sort of person you are. For me, anyway. So
No, agreed. I think we could both agree
Yeah.
on that. It's good.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Factor 50 Football Podcast. Myself and Mike will be back next week for a very special episode where we discuss and plan out both Arsenal's and Manchester United transfer activity for the summer. That's right, we'll be buying and selling players, including realistic costings and having a debate about all of it. So we will see you next week for that episode. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Ring the bell, and we'll see you soon.